Okay, so think for a moment about how you use AI, in your everyday life. Maybe it's for a quick search, maybe drafting an email, or helping you brainstorm some ideas. Have you ever found yourself wishing it could just, well, remember things? Not just the very last thing you asked, but like everything you've ever discussed with it. Building on context, knowing your preferences. Well, you should probably get ready because today we're kind of peeling back the layers on a technological leap that seems poised to completely change that whole experience. We're talking about something genuinely revolutionary, photonic chips. And the source material we dove into for today makes this, well, pretty bold claim. It says, it's hard to describe how big this will be. Makes you stop and think, right? So our mission here on the Deep Dive, as always, is to cut through any hype and really unpack what these photonic chips actually are. We want to look at the specific ways they might redefine our relationship with AI chatbots, and crucially, why this isn't some far-off sci-fi future. No, this is stuff that's apparently on the immediate horizon.
We really want to give you a clear, in-depth understanding of this big shift that's coming. So you're not just watching it happen, but you really get the implications. Okay, right, let's unpack this then. Imagine a chatbot, but one that truly remembers every single interaction you've ever had, like every idea, every preference you've mentioned, every shared thought across, I don't know, countless conversations, and it's all instantly accessible, integrated into how it understands you. That's the kind of potential we're digging into today with these photonic chips and their effect on AI. So maybe let's start right at the beginning. What is a photonic chip? What's the sort of fundamental difference compared to the silicon we're all used to?
Yeah, that's definitely the right place to start. So at its core, a photonic chip is basically a circuit that uses light, specifically photons, to carry and process information. It doesn't use electrons like, traditional silicon chips. You should think of it less like a small upgrade and more like building these tiny, super efficient fiber optic networks inside the chip itself. So it's not just a different material. It's a whole different way of thinking about how data moves and gets processed on that tiny scale.
Okay, so no electrons pushing through wires, which causes resistance and heat. Instead, you've got light just zipping around inside these circuits. What does that mean right away for like raw speed? Is it a small boost, or are we talking something really noticeable?
Oh, it's way beyond noticeable. It's dramatic. The initial reports, the research, it all emphasizes that this light-based tech can move information thousands of times faster. Thousands. Compared to what our best silicon chips can do right now. And this incredible speed isn't just about, faster calculations. It's about breaking through some fundamental bottlenecks that have held computing back for ages. See, photons, unlike electrons, they don't really face electrical resistance. And that translates directly into much less heat and much, much faster signal transmission. It's literally moving at the speed of light inside the chip.
Wow.
Yeah, this raw speed is. It's phenomenal. But honestly, as exciting as that sounds, it's really just scratching the surface. It's the foundation for what comes next, which I think is even more groundbreaking, the memory.
Okay, 1,000 times faster is already staggering, but you're saying that's not even the biggest deal here. Right, this is where it gets really interesting for anyone who's ever felt maybe a bit frustrated by current AI, right? This idea of unprecedented memory capacity. So what does it actually mean for an AI chatbot to remember, and I'm quoting here, every point that you and it made over countless conversations? How does that change the actual experience of talking to it?
Well, it leads to a really profound shift, a fundamental change in how we relate to AI. Right now, most of the time you talk to a chatbot, it's kind of stateless, isn't it? Each question is mostly a fresh start, or maybe it remembers the last couple of things you said, at best. Very short-term memory. With photonic chips, we're talking about cumulative long-term memory and at scale. So imagine you're brainstorming maybe a really complex project with an AI, and you do this over several weeks or months even. It wouldn't just recall what you discussed before, it would understand the evolution of your ideas, your preferred way of working, the little nuances of how you think, all without you ever having to say, hey, remember when we talked about, it just knows.
Huh. So it's not just like searching through old chat logs. It's not just data retrieval. It sounds more like a deep integrated understanding that actually grows with every conversation, almost like building a real relationship, but with an AI.
Exactly. That's the core idea. Our deep dive suggests you could genuinely get to a point where you never have to repeat yourself about anything. Ever.
Anything.
Well, think about it. Say you're using AI for creative writing. It would remember every plot idea you've explored, every character detail, every stylistic thing you prefer, and it builds on that foundation seamlessly. Or Think about a more personal use case. What if you had a photonic chatbot you talked with regularly, maybe like a personal coach or even a therapist or confidant, apparently in almost no time at all because it understands your patterns, your goals, your challenges, pulling from every single conversation. It could genuinely know you in a way that's, well, almost impossible for another human, just given the sheer amount of data and perfect recall.
That phrase, know you far better than you could ever know yourself. That's a powerful claim.
It is, and it's not just about logging data points. It's integrating, synthesizing, understanding context on a scale we've, frankly, only dreamed about until now. This leads to interactions that are incredibly personalized, insightful, and consistent over time.
That level of understanding, that personalization, it sounds amazing, almost too amazing maybe. Especially when you think about how much power today's big AI models consume. All that processing, storing all that memory. It takes huge amounts of energy, right? So how do photonic chips fit into that picture? Is there like another surprise benefit hiding here?
There absolutely is, and it's a really critical piece of this whole puzzle. Beyond the incredible speed and this massive memory potential, photonic chips are also projected to be unbelievably energy efficient.
Unbelievably efficient. How efficient are we talking?
Okay, get this. Our sources highlight that the technology is expected to be so efficient that it could take less power to run these advanced AI systems than it takes to power a single LED light bulb.
Wait, seriously, less power than an LED bulb? For an AI that remembers everything and is thousands of times faster?
Yeah.
That's genuinely astonishing. What does that kind of efficiency mean then for actually using this stuff, for rolling out AI more broadly?
Well, it's a total game changer for widespread adoption, no question. If you connect this to the bigger picture, right, this kind of hyper-efficiency makes truly ubiquitous AI interaction not just possible, but actually viable and sustainable. We could be talking about advanced AI running effectively on devices that just don't have the power budget today, things like our phones, smart home devices, maybe even wearables, and potentially without needing constant connection to the cloud or just draining your battery in minutes.
Ah, okay. Less reliance on massive data centers too, maybe.
Exactly. It drastically cuts down the environmental footprint of AI, makes it a much more accessible technology, less resource hungry. It just opens up totally new ways to integrate really smart AI into, well, pretty much every part of our lives.
Okay, so these capabilities are just phenomenal. We've got light speed processing, this almost unbelievable memory, incredible energy efficiency. So the immediate question for a lot of us listening is probably, okay, great, but when? This sounds like something out of a movie, maybe decades away still. But the research we looked into, it was pretty clear this is not far off technology. It's coming soon, isn't it?
It really is, and that's what makes this whole deep dive feel so relevant right now. These aren't just ideas floating around in labs. There are actual companies actively developing this stuff and making concrete plans for commercial deployment, like right now.
Okay, like who are their names?
Yeah, definitely. For instance, a company called Lightmatter, they're seen as a leader here. They apparently have plans for mass market deployment kicking off around 2027.
2027, that's really close.
It is. And another big player, Ayar Labs, they're aiming for commercial rollout even sooner, maybe as early as 2026.
Wow, 2026.
And what's even more intriguing, the source mentioned the possibility of labs that may be in stealth mode. So companies we don't even know about yet, and they might potentially deploy their versions even sooner than that, maybe even before the end of this year, though that seems ambitious.
Okay, so this isn't science fiction. This is near future reality.
Exactly. It's practically knocking on our door, moving from the lab bench into everyday applications much faster than I think most people realize.
Right, so we have this incredible speed, this deep, persistent memory, amazing efficiency, and it's imminent. What does all that add up to for us? For people using technology day to day, how does it really shift things?
It seems to represent a truly fundamental reshaping of things. The analysis we read called it a major paradigm shift in communicating with AIs, and that feels right. This isn't just about making the chatbots we have now a little bit better. It's about making them, well, maybe indispensable.
Indispensable? How so?
The prediction is pretty clear. These photonic chatbots will probably mark the turning point when absolutely everyone begins using chatbots. Just imagine an AI that understands your context, your history, your preferences so deeply that it just seamlessly anticipates what you need. helping you with complex tasks without you even having to spell it all out, acting like a constant co-pilot for your work, for your personal life. The source really emphasized this point. You may not believe it until you're actually working with them, which suggests it's going to feel profoundly different, more intuitive, more helpful because of that intelligence combined with that persistent memory. So yeah, it's not just another upgrade to a tool we use. It looks like a fundamental change in how we interact with information, with digital intelligence, and maybe ultimately with the world itself.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive into what feels like the very near future of AI. We've really unpacked the astonishing potential of these photonic chips today, starting with that foundational speed advantage, right? Processing information thousands of times faster than silicon, then moving to that truly revolutionary memory capacity, the part that promises AI interactions where you genuinely might never have to repeat yourself.
Yeah, that memory part is key.
Absolutely. And we also touched on the unbelievable energy efficiency, needing less power than an LED light bulb, which makes widespread, constant AI adoption seem much more realistic, more sustainable, integrated right into our devices.
Right, making it accessible.
And crucially, realizing this isn't some distant dream. Commercial deployment could be starting as early as 2026, maybe even sooner, from stealth players. So as you go about your day now, maybe reflect a little on what a truly remembering AI one that deeply knows you through your interactions. What would that actually mean for your life? How might it change the way you learn or create or work, or even how you manage your personal well-being? Think about the possibilities like instant research that's perfectly contextualized to your project, or co-creating something complex without ever losing a single thread of thought, or maybe personalized education that truly adapts because it understands every concept you've already grasped.
But the possibilities are pretty vast.
They really are. And maybe just one final provocative thought to leave you with as we close this deep dive. If these photonic chatbots really are poised to, as the source suggests, know you far better than you could ever know yourself, by integrating every thought, every question, every preference from countless interactions, what new questions does that raise for you personally? Questions about efficiency, maybe? About self-discovery? Or just about the nature of having a highly personalized digital companion in a world that's getting more and more intertwined with advanced AI?
Definitely something to think about.
Absolutely. Something fascinating to ponder until our next deep dive.